You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
We're excited to kick off our second annual Spring Road Tour as we are visiting some of the best-looking shops across the country. Come along as we give you a behind-the-scenes tour of some of the most successful lawn care, landscaping, and hardscaping companies and how they operate their business. This shop tour is brought to you by our great friends at Steel, Equipment Defender, Cujo Yardware, and Yardbook. We know that professionals like you trust and rely on the tools and equipment to make their businesses a success, and our partners mean business. Gear up, lock up, lace up, and line up your business for success in 2023 with the gear and equipment from our tour sponsors. We'll be releasing new Shop Tour podcast and YouTube videos every Monday as we take you across the country highlighting these entrepreneurs' businesses and their incredible shop builds. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, guys, super excited about having this next shop tour series in the lineup, in the queue, and that is my friend Alex Grugan with Faith Lawn Care and Landscaping. Alex has a jamming business. He's acquired about 5 or 6 companies over the last 6 or 7 years, but really on this podcast, he shares his whole business story, which is about 2 decades long in the industry. And for all of you guys looking to buy companies, sell companies, acquire, grow. This is a guy who's been there, done that. And it's a really, really encouraging and really, really motivational story. So I really encourage you guys to listen all the way through. And if you guys really enjoy the podcast, I invite you to come check out the Brian's Lawn Maintenance YouTube channel later this evening at 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing the full shop tour series where we had, I think he had a 6,000 square feet of warehouse space that he's rented, a couple mow crews, a couple landscape crews, hardscape crew. Things are just jamming over there. Again, big shout out and thank you to Steel, Equipment Defender, Cujo Yardware, and Yard Books for making this tour happen. We do not take it for granted. This actually was a home-based one, which is really nice. It was in my backyard, about 15 minutes down the road. But man, that day I was actually shotgunning around. So was Alex. We caught up later to do the podcast here that you guys are going to listen to. So it's just logistically, man, it takes time, money, and effort to put these things together. And I hope you guys don't take this content for granted that somebody like this is able to pour into us for free for about 45 minutes. So any which way, just want to say a great episode. Alex, when we had you on the show, I know you did. We're excited about sharing your story, and you did a great job, brother. I know the people that are going to be listening to it here in just a quick minute are going to be highly encouraged and motivated to go out there and win and grow for themselves. So, guys, that being said, let's kick it over to the actual podcast episode with Alex with Faith Lawn Care and Property Services.
Good morning, Brian. I'm good.
Awesome, man. Well, we actually have your shop tour dropping tonight on YouTube at 3 p.m. Eastern, and a little bit of like an encore from the first time we were able to see you and get you on the show. We did that Christmas light special last fall, man. So how's everything going since then?
It's been going good. Super busy.
Yeah. How's things going in your guys' neck of the woods? What are you guys up to this last week?
Last week we did 200 yards of mulch. We prepped for 10 tons of decorative stone for Monday, and getting mowers ready to get mowing next week, and just trying to get moving and grooving.
Wow. Holy cow, man. That's ridiculous. I was saying 200 plus yards of mulch. I've got some of my buddies that are moving like 100 yards a week. Other guys are 100 yards a day. Somebody commented on my Instagram, we've moved 8,000 yards already. I'm like, 8,000 yards of mulch, bro. I'm like, what the hell? But then
that's a lot of mulch.
Well, then I was hanging out with another company, Corey Lamphere. He's going to be on the podcast later, and they're moving 1,000 yards a week and as well. And I'm like, dear Lord, that's incredible. Like, good. Hopefully that's good money too. I hope they're getting a good per yard installed. Amen. But
yeah,
you never know. But hopefully. But Corey runs a good business. But I digress. But So today on the podcast, we want to get your story, man. I had you on last fall. We talked Christmas lights. We talked holiday lighting. We talked a little this, a little that. We've actually known each other for, gosh, dude, I don't even know, since 08, 9, 10. Like it's
been a minute. I think I met when I worked at Weingart.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a decade, I would say, right? I mean, plus or minus. Yeah. Dude, it's hard when you start quantifying friendships because it's like you were just always there, kind of a deal, right? In your adulthood.
Sure.
But man, yeah. So let's take it back to the Weingarts days, and you can tell your story here, and then we'll talk a little bit about the shop maybe on the tail end, because you wanted to get the full story out there, and I'm like, heck yeah, and there's there's a lot of valuable lessons learned from your story that I know you were excited about sharing, and making sure the next guy just has like the full lay of the land, man. So do you want to let's do this really quick? Let's zoom out, give them like the 50,000 foot. Who you are, what does things look like today, and then we'll kind of backtrack and kind of unbutton this thing.
Sure. So right now, our company is South Lyon Property Maintenance. We service roughly 300 clients. Right now, we have 15 full-time employees running 3 mowing crews, 1 landscape maintenance crew, and a hardscape crew. And then in the fall, we go pretty heavy with the holiday lighting, and in the winter, we run about 6 trucks for snow removal.
Wow.
It's kind of grown into a mini monster.
Dude, that's for sure. And it didn't always start that way. You guys have been accumulating and a couple acquisitions along the way lately, right?
Yes. Yeah. No. So basically, we restarted the business in 2018, and I bought a buddy out with 60 lawns, and hired on one of my friends to kind of help me out. And here, 5 years later, we've quadrupled. So it's been a crazy ride.
That is awesome. And fast forward, if you don't mind sharing, where you guys at revenue wise? Where did you guys finish up last year in 22?
Last year we were at 1.1.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And this year we're shooting for 2.2.
Holy cow. Then you guys have some great growth, which is why we did the shop tour as well, because you guys are bursting at the seams. You guys have how many total square feet of enclosed indoor space, whatever you want to call it, do you guys have at the shops?
Right now, I think it's about 6,000 between the 2 buildings.
Okay.
And we actually just signed a new lease on a new property on Wednesday.
Oh, no shoot, dude. So that's breaking news. Yeah.
We're going to be moving.
Oh, really? Okay. Dude, that's awesome. So you want to talk about that right now, or where are you guys on that whole process?
So the brief snapshot on that is going to be, it's basically a 22,000 square foot asphalt parking lot, and we're going to be bringing in shipping containers and a Amish built garage and an Amish built office.
Okay.
And then we'll have we'll be able to build a salt bin. We'll be able to have mulch. We'll be able to have fuel tanks. The downside is going to be the trucks and trailers are going to have to sit outside, unlike the shop currently.
Okay.
But we'll have the shipping containers to put the mowers in and put the equipment and tools and all the Christmas lights away.
Sure.
So it'll be a little different, but it'll definitely help for growth, and it's going to save us a little money every month. Dude,
that's awesome. Is it people listening, they know the area, so maybe keep it broad, but what general area did you guys find some area or some land, or where are you guys at?
We're in Milford.
Oh, okay, dude, awesome. Heck yeah. Well, that's like 2 minutes down the road from where your core business is, like 10 minutes south. So
yeah, we're like 10 minutes from where we are now. So
okay.
Not bad at all.
No, that's not bad. I was wondering if you were going west to Brighton area, because people are like, hey, Fullerton, you going west to Brighton and where you live? Are you bringing your whole business out that way? And I go, no, not right now. I said, maybe one day, because Brighton's a really beautiful area. But
it is.
I was like, man, if Grugan moves west, then I'm totally not moving over there. So it's just people are like, Fullerton, you going to grow like a $5-10 million snow company one day? I'm like, sure, right after Troy Clogg retires. You know what I mean? And Liz goes,
no, we're going to be pretty close to Troy Clogg now. So.
That's awesome, dude. That's
over in that neck of the woods.
Okay. That's awesome. I said, somebody goes, or Liz the other day, she goes, hey, why don't we just buy Troy's business and then we'll just be right at 20 million. I said, I don't know if that's how it works, honey. I said, we could. I said, anything's possible, but I said, we have to, borrow some Alex Grugan money if we want to make that happen, I guess.
Oh yeah. So much money.
Well, and so, and if you guys can't tell, Alex and I, we talk quite a bit, and we're always cutting up, and especially during the off season, we get to catch up a little bit more, because this time of year we're just all go. So again, dude, thank you so much for taking time to hop on the show. So where do you want to take it back to? Because last time I had met you, and that actually might be a really good starting point of the story, is I had met you, I think, at Weingarts, if I didn't know you before. And I think you just popped on the scene one day. You were part of the sales team at the local Farmington Weingarts store, big dealer, all this other mess. And you were to me, quote unquote, just another sales guy. And I was like, Awesome, man. And you were always asking questions about my business, help, I think maybe with a couple pieces of equipment when maybe Ted wasn't there or something like that. And so that wasn't really the start of your career, though, in the green industry.
No, so I take you back to the beginning. So I started my first lawn business in 2003 when I was a freshman in high school. It was Alex's Lawn and Landscaping 1.0, we always call it.
Okay.
It was the original.
Yeah.
And I did that through high school and college. Towards the end of college, I met a girl, and we ended up getting engaged and moved to the west side of the state. So I sold the business really for peanuts, because I didn't really know what you could sell a business for.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And obviously it didn't work out with her. We lived out on the west side of the state for about 6 months and moved back to the Detroit area. And I actually started working for Mark over at Mark's Outdoor Power Equipment as a pickup delivery driver.
Okay.
And I worked there for about a year. And kind of towards the end of that year, I started, mowing a few lawns. I actually did the dreaded thing everyone says not to do is, I guess back then it was a little more acceptable, but I passed out flyers for lawn cuts starting at $16 a week because I knew I wanted to kind of build my book of business back up. And at that time, it was just, me, my Ford Explorer, and I bought a used 48-inch Exmark E-Series. And after work, I was just mowing some lawns.
Okay.
Towards the end of that first summer, one of my buddies that I went to high school with was getting rid of his lawn route. And he actually just gave me the lawns to take over. So at the end of my first season, I was mowing about 60 lawns a week solo. So I did that for a few years, kind of gradually grew that business, the original business, I guess it would be the second business at that point.
Okay.
I kind of grew it more naturally, 60 lawns the first year, 150 the next year. And my dad saw that I was growing pretty quick. So he actually helped me out and purchased a building in Novi. And I ran my business out of there for a little while. And then, at that point, 2-3 years in, we probably had 4 or 5 employees. We were running, 2 or 3 trucks in the winter. And then my last year with that business was the dreaded 2013 and 14 winter when we got that 104 inches of snow. Mm-hmm. And the previous winter, I was really getting into those seasonal contracts, and it was so great because, whether it snowed or it didn't snow, you got paid. And we did pretty well. And then 13, 14, I'm like, you know what? We're going to go all in on seasonal contracts. Every one of our contracts were seasonal. And this is also the first year I started dabbling in large commercial sites. I had a loader on a site, and I had a dump truck and 2 other pickup trucks, and I way overbooked. But, Michigan winters aren't that bad, right?
Right.
And
in theory.
in theory. And then we got walloped.
Yeah.
And
for reference, let me interject really quick. For reference, we get about 40-45 inches on a regular annual snow season here in Michigan, Southeast Michigan.
Yeah, and it was bad. We were out plowing literally every day. I was blessed with actually a really core group of guys that just stuck with me and just, we grinded it out. We fulfilled all our contracts. I mean, our seasonal budgets were spent by Christmas.
Wow.
So we were like, all of January and February, I was paying out of my pocket basically to buy salt, pay the guys, like just get through. But I was like, we were contracted and I wanted to fulfill the contracts. And looking back on it now, I probably should have just quit while I was ahead. But come springtime, we were in the red. I can't remember if it was between 80 and 100K, and it was rough. We talked about it. We're like, oh, we can push through and we'll make it up with lawns. I was newly married at that point, and it was bad. My wife and I were building our first home. We had bought a house that had burned down, and we were in the process of rebuilding it. And so we ended up getting the house done. And to get out of the mess that we were in, this was like June. We just had our daughter, and we ended up selling the house to pay off all our debt.
Wow.
And,
holy cow.
Yeah. So we moved into my, it was her grandma's house, old house. And we were living there. And I just woke up one morning. I can't do this anymore. There's no money. We sold our house to pay off all our debt. I probably could have pushed forward at that point because we were debt free. But I was just so mentally drained and just beat up from everything. I was done.
Oh yeah, you're exhausted, bro. Like mentally, financially, spiritually, like you're done.
Yeah, it was bad. So I gave away all the accounts that we had left. Didn't really even care what happened to them. Just gave them away, and sold all the equipment. And I took a job selling vacuums, believe it or not. So I sold vacuums for a year, and then I took a job at D&G, and I was at D&G Equipment for 2 or 3 years, and then I did a year at Weingarts.
Okay.
So
wow.
And then when I was at Weingarts, started to get the itch to kind of get back into the business. I couldn't wrap my head around working for somebody else. It wasn't bad, but I just always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I was still doing the Christmas light business, through this entire time.
Okay.
We were still doing the Christmas lights, it's slow that time of year at, selling power equipment. So, the folks at D&G and Weingarts were really good about giving me a couple weeks off to do Christmas lights.
Oh, okay.
So I did that. And then, one day a gentleman came in. I was one of Ted's customers actually. And, he's like, Ted, do you know anyone who wants to buy a lawn route? And my ears kind of perked up, and I was like, I want to buy a lawn route.
Okay.
And he seller financed it for me, and that's how I got back into the business. I purchased Faith Lawn property from that gentleman, and the rest is history. Sort of. I guess we can keep going on that a little bit. So I bought with 70 lawns the first season, and did it with a buddy of mine that used to work with me. And so we did that. And then the next year we bought out another company. The third year we bought 2 companies. Last year we bought 2 companies. And here we are.
Dude, that's ridiculous, bro. That's so like, and by the way, what was the time frame Weingarts? Because like you said, that was 16, 17, 18 at least, right? When you got back in the business?
Yeah. I think I got back into the business in 2018.
Okay.
I was working at Weingarts from late 2016 to 2018.
Okay, because that's when I think at least I know that's when I first bumped into it, was 16, because that's that was 7+ years ago. Wow. And dude, it's like it feels like it was literally yesterday. You know what I mean? Like because I remember you wearing the red shirt and you're like just selling on the floor, which is great, which is fine. I told Liz, I'm like, dude, if anything ever happened, I would just go work at Weingarts and make 50, 60, 80, 100 grand. I don't even know. And you're probably like, yeah, maybe a little less, but any which way. But I was like, I would just go work at Weingarts and just BS with all my friends and just sell them more leaf blowers and Exmark mowers. I don't care. But or work for one of the companies as a rep. And by the way, for you guys listening in, like some of you guys are looking for an exit strategy from your lawn care landscaping business. Like it's rarely talked about. Just a little quick side tangent, but like, dude, you should like make friends with the companies that you're working with. I mean, you never know when you might want a job at the dealer or a job at the service counter or a job as a distributor or somewhere, at the corporate level for some of the companies you guys work with. Like, keep those options open because, man, like we all know, like you physically only have like till 40 or 50 in this business until you got kind of 2 options. Stay solo owner operator, grow a 10, 20, 30 person company, or go all in and build a $10 million company. But eventually you kind of quote unquote have to get out of the field. It doesn't mean you can't get back in the field, but you cannot be like the sole producer typically of your business with a 50, 60-year-old body. It's just, I know guys that do it, God bless them, of course. But eventually like let's just be practical. Like you're going to physically out. And there's a lot of guys that put 20 years in the business. They, sell their company for, $100,000, $500,000, $1 million. And then they're, making a 60, 80, $100,000 a year salary at some company. And dude, that's totally awesome. That's totally awesome. Just make friends. And Alex, I'm sure you went that route for a minute and you didn't burn any bridges leaving that route either, I'm sure.
No.
Yep. It's
the bridge that was burned was rebuilt, but we're good now. Yeah.
Yeah, right. There you go. Because I remember they were like, wait, you're going to be like leaving as a sales guy? And you're like, yeah, I'm going back in business. They're like, oh, okay. Dude, that's awesome. Well, let's do this really quick. We're going to take a quick commercial break. I'm going to get a little bit more drink of the good old not sponsored uptime. And I want to break this down a little bit more because I want to ask you a little bit more about seller financing because I get a lot of guys that want to buy something or buy it from their boss or buy somebody out. And maybe they don't have the cash, the credit, the collateral to leverage that to buy a business and get things rolling. So if you got a few more minutes, you got a couple of seconds where we can pick your brain after we come on back?
Sure do.
All right, cool deal, man. Well, let's do this really quick, guys. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors. We're going to hear from the tour sponsors, and then we're going to come right on back.
Looking to outfit your trailer with the best racks in the industry? Head over to Equipment Defender. Be secure, look professional, be organized, stop thieves and damage in their tracks. Equipment Defender has racks for backpack blowers, trimmers, gas cans, backpack sprayers, and more. Stay organized, stay secure with Equipment Defender. All Equipment Defender racks work in either open or enclosed trailers. Get secure and organized today at equipmentdefender.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Equipment Defender.
The whole ball of wax at LawnpreneurAcademy.com is a $4,000 value, and it's yours for only $1,499. But when you apply the code SPRINGRUSH at checkout, all one word, Spring Rush, we will take another $300 off. That's $4,000 of resources for less than $1,200. This special discount ends April 30th.
All right, Alex, well, we are going to head right on back to you, my friend. And again, thank you so much for being part of the shop tour and just sharing with guys what you have going on. And I'm telling you guys, like, the story that Alex is sharing not only is a fun one, it's an inspirational one, no doubt about it. It's like rags to riches, back to rags, and on his way back up to riches, if you will. But you guys got to see the equipment and the companies that they have accumulated and acquired along the way. The guys, the team, the crew, the trucks, the equipment. That's what the shop tour was all about. Like Alex said, 6,000 plus square feet of warehouse space. And man, these guys are crushing it. And by the way, hopefully on the video, I can leave like a card or an end screen at the end, or just search it later if you guys want, and look at the holiday lighting video that we did last fall, which got like 15, 20, 30,000 views, which is not a bad, view video for I thought Christmas lights. I'm like, hey, I don't really have anything to measure that against, Alex, because you were like, is that a good video? I go, I don't know, 30,000 views on a Christmas light video seems good to me. And you were pulling in 6 digits plus with Christmas lighting, which is you have 6-digit jobs, let's be honest. And so it's been a crazy. It's just crazy seeing you do all this, man, and watching from afar. And we've got a couple of mutual friends that we'll talk and touch base with, and it's just exciting to see what you're putting together. So, if you can you take us from when you were maybe at the dealer looking to get back in the business? Actually, let me even go one notch back, because I think there's a valuable lesson learned. The fulfilling of those contracts. What was your thought process there? Why didn't you just quit or not fulfill them? And then any lessons learned maybe about how your contracts are structured? If you want to take 3 minutes, there's probably a lot of lessons that you learned there.
So I guess the reason I didn't just bail, it's just kind of who I am. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to see it through. So I guess that was kind of why I just didn't bail. And maybe it was just partially just not knowing any better, not realizing what the consequences were going to end up being in the end, at the end. But,
Sure.
So that's kind of why we stuck it out. Now we have in our contract that either party can walk away with 30-day notice. So that's kind of how we structured our contracts now. But also we don't do seasonal contracts so much anymore.
Okay.
We have about 5%. I kind of did the rule of thumb is whatever my monthly payments are, I try to have in seasonal contracts. So if it doesn't snow, I can still cover my expenses.
Right. Sure.
So that's kind of what I've done now when I've restarted the business. I'll make sure, as long as, if my payments are X, I got to make sure I'm getting that much in seasonals.
Right. Well, and then if I can add, like in our commercial snow contract templates, we sell quite a few of them in the fall, as you guys might imagine. That's at LawnpreneurAcademy.com/store. It's a snow contracts. They're some of the best that I've seen. I'm just telling you guys, like, I'm not here to give a hard pitch on them, but they're really, really good snow contracts. They're not like a silver bullet, but they are. They're great. They're something you just plug and play with. And we've secured 6 digits of snow for, years on years now. And I know guys using them, and they're doing millions of dollars worth of snow. And one of the contract templates that we created last fall that I did for my business, and I know a lot of people were requesting too, were what Alex was just alluding to, which were seasonal contracts, flat rate monthly, as I call them, type contracts. And learning from a lot of the big guys in snow, Troy, Corey, a couple other great guys off the record and that have also been on the show, as we have a cap. It says 45 inches. After that, it reverts back to per push and per ton applied. So people will be like, well, what's the difference between per push then and flat rate monthly? Easy. At least they have a minimum budgeted allotment that they're putting towards their snow and salt services. So long story short, again, if you got a small site, it's $6,000, a medium site, it's $12,000, and a bigger site, it's $20,000, $25,000, $30,000. or maybe you got $100,000 account, whatever. At least they know they have 5 or 4 or 3 or however you do it. We do 5 months of flat rate monthly. Like, hey, every month it's $2,150, $2,650, $875, $1,500, whatever it is. Like, that's coming in. And then if you have a low performing winter, i.e. 2022, 2023, it goes the other way, doesn't it, Alex? Like you've seen the 100-inch winters, and then we've seen the, quote unquote, we've had like high 30s of snow, inches of snow this year, like almost 40 inches of snow. I don't believe that, but that's what they say. But nonetheless, we've only really went out like 5 or so good times this year. And my friends over in Pennsylvania, glaring example, and my heart goes out to those guys as well. And this isn't like to just, throw salt in the wound, nothing like that. But just learn. This is a learning lesson for everybody. It's like if you have snow and you don't have prepays for maybe residentials or even some of your commercials or flat rate monthlies to bridge the gap, like you're going to be definitely hurting through winter. And my friends over at Sour Snow, like they did millions and millions and millions. And I think they did 1 plow run and like a bunch of salt runs, like half dozen salt runs. So people like, well, there's no money in snow if it doesn't snow. I'm like, well, it depends on your business model. These guys, that's why I did Sours. They have all subcontractors. You want to talk about a completely different business model with like per push, flat rate monthly, and all subcontractors. They have nobody in-house, folks. They have like a dozen people in-house managing all this. And they're doing almost, 8 figures, if not 8 figures this year in snow and salt. And even when it didn't snow a flake. So I'm just telling you, like, you got to learn snow. It's not like I have a truck and I can go mow lawns and I got a truck and go plow snow. It's an entirely different business. And I'm not telling you like I know it all. I'm telling you like I'm humbling my ego so I learn it right. And then my friend Troy Clogg, he talks about snow insurance all the time. Like those are stuff and topics and items to pursue and to learn more about. So Alex, you got anything you want to add on all that? Anything that you wish that you would have knew, 6, 7, 8 years ago?
Pretty much everything you just said.
Oh man, I rubbed my forehead and like, gosh, like, dude, if we would have just picked up the phone, we didn't know what we didn't know sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Snow can be a blessing and snow can be a curse.
Yep. Now when it snows, are you excited or are you still like, do you get like a twitch because you're like, man?
I'm excited for the invoicing, but I'm not excited to get out of bed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I said if the only thing that gets me out of bed is making what we make on snow. If not, I wouldn't do it.
The older I get, the harder it is to get out of bed at 2 a.m. to go plow snow.
Especially when you have kids, bro. You have 4 kids, right? You got 3 in the new.
4 kids.
Yeah, the new. Don't you have like a 6-month-old baby, right?
5 months. Yeah.
5 months. Yeah, dude. That's. Man, yeah, like Liz and I have 1, bro, and we're like, oh my God, we're going to 2. And we're like, how do people do it with 3 and 4 and 5? But
we're talking about a 5th now too. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Dude, that's awesome. Is it like terminal velocity of chaos after like 3 or 4? Like,
I mean, after the second, it seems like it's been a lot easier.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. That's fair. We're like, we need more grandparents. We need hired help. We need like, and Liz is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. Liz is great. I just don't want to see Liz like it just dragged ragged. You know what I mean? And doing everything that she already does. And so I'm sure we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But hey, if other people can do it, we can do it. That's always my go-to with Liz. I'm like, there's 60 billion humans. We can't be the dumbest people on the planet. You know what I mean? So people with far less everything have figured it out. So we could do it too. But all right. So take me to, you're at the counter at Weingart's and somebody walks in and says, hey, anybody looking to buy a business? What were you thinking back then? Were you had like time to breathe and you're like, hey, I always liked being in business. I think I'm going to give it another go. Or was it just happenstance?
This gentleman came in a couple of times. He was one of Ted's pretty good customers. They'd been doing business for a really long time.
Okay.
He had been in the industry for like 30 years and he just burned out. He was tired and, ready to retire and move on to the next thing.
Sure.
And so he came in once, probably early winter, and talked to Ted. Hey, do you know anybody that, looking to buy? And does, no, but I'll keep my ears open. And I was working at the station right next to Ted, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That would be, maybe something. I'm like, I wish I could figure out, how to do it. Like I don't have, $100K just sitting in the bank, especially working at Weingart.
Sure.
And so we did. So he ended up coming back in like February, and same kind of thing. Hey, do you hear of anybody? No, not yet. And then he came in. Oh man, like right before spring. and
panicking. He's like, I want out.
Yeah. He's like, dude, I'm not, I'm not, have you heard anybody? No, And so after he left, I looked up his account and grabbed his phone number and gave him a call and said, hey, I heard you were looking to sell and we talked on the phone. I had an hour drive home from Weingart. So we talked for, an hour that day and probably an hour the next day. And I said, I would love to do it, but I don't have the cash,
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what are you thinking? I'm like, I don't even know, man. Like, I could give you, I could give you $5,000 down and, maybe I can make payments to you for the next, I think we did 3 years or 4 years.
Okay.
And it was 3 years. So I said, give you payments for 36 months. And I did a whole spreadsheet. I'm like, look, this is how much my mower payments are going to cost. This is how much I think my fuel is going to cost. And I broke down all my expenses to him. I said, here's the income that you say that I'm going to be able to bill. And here's what I'm projecting all my expenses are going to be. And then it was like a $2,100 a month payment too. It was a big payment.
Yeah.
And I said, here's that payment figured in here. So I've got this much left over to pay my bills and you get paid, I get paid. Everybody's happy. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, if you think that's going to work, I'm down. And we shook hands and I own my own business.
Wow. No, shoot. That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. So any lessons that you learned there? Like, would you do it the same way again? Structure it different? Like,
I've repeated that exact same thing like 5 times now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have not taken a loan to purchase any business that I've bought over the last 5 years. Every one of them has been seller finance. I've been really getting into like the investing and, property and, buying businesses to invest in and listening to a lot of podcasts on that. That's kind of how partially I learned about seller financing a little bit. So basically now when we buy out a business, we look to probably put about 10% down and then seller finance the rest. And it works out to the seller because they're getting a small interest off of the sale and they're getting, depending on the size of their business, they're getting a chunk of cash up front. And then they're getting, a monthly payment, for whatever the terms are. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them find that appealing because they're still getting, a paycheck, if you will. So it's been appealing to a few guys now. So we've kind of been going that route and had really good success with it. And I would highly recommend it. It's just kind of gaining the person's trust. You can't just walk up to a guy like, I want to buy your business and I want you to finance it.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of whining and dining and you want them to get to know you and, hey, I'm not out to screw you. I'm a Christian dude. Like this is how it's going to be.
Yep.
I'm a man of my word. I bought this guy's business. Give him a call. He'll tell you exactly how it went. No issues. I make my payments on time, and it's just you talk with people and you figure out something that's going to work for the both of you, and you go for it.
I love it, man. I love it. Actually, in all-encompassing story and fashion, you actually bought one of my routes, which was really ironic and weird at the same time because I had a chunk of I had a day route, a pocket, and I don't even know how it came up, to be honest with you. And I was like, I don't even know how it came up. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to get rid of these accounts. And you're like, actually, I would be interested. And I'm like, I've never really sold off anything. I have no idea what I'm doing, what I'm talking about. This is circa 16, 17, maybe 18, but I had jumped on YouTube. I was learning a bunch. I'm like, I have a really heavy business in like 4 days a week, one area, 1 day a week over in a whole nother side of town. I'm like, this makes no sense. And I was getting in more into snow and I'm like, there's no way I'm going over there for snow. And then I was like, why am I even going over there for lawns? It was a good day. I was smart enough to know, like, do 22 lawns that day, make it a, $1,000 revenue day, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, this makes no sense. And so we got to talking. And actually, we did seller finance. You cash flowed it. I said, that's actually funny, ironically enough. And you're right. And hopefully, like you can call my business or my route something that you had acquired, right? But it's about enough to buy the newspaper. But it was pretty funny nonetheless because we did I think like 2 $1,000 payments. I think it was like let you mow for 2 months. Then we did a back-to-back 1,000 payment. Which you just cash flowed with the revenue and the profit off the route. It was nothing super fancy or looking back on it, it's actually really intelligent.
Yeah, no, it was 2019 and it was 2 payments.
Yep. Okay. 2019. Okay. Yep. And by the way, another great guy, if you guys ever want to pick the brain, and hopefully doesn't mind me sharing this, was I know he talked about it, was Jeremy Jacobs with JJ Grounds over in Illinois. He wanted to get into the business. He bought a company. I think he got like a $60,000 line of credit was his story. He bought the business for $30,000, but he wanted to pump another 30 into it with like payroll and new equipment. And then after about 2 or 3 years, he paid off that note and has been debt free ever since. But you guys, if you're looking to buy and sell businesses, like there's tons, and it doesn't have to be like this $2 million turnkey business. You can buy somebody's, $100,000, company. And also, this is a good reason to keep a good list of customers and good financials, and maybe some life circumstances changes. Your wife gets a job change, and she's like going to be a director of something, making $200,000 a year, and you're like, I'm only making $70,000 with my lawn business. We talked about moving to Florida anyway. Like you could sell this thing off over the off season, but you're not going to sell it if you just have, respectfully, a little legal pad full of your client lists and a shoebox full of receipts. It's not a real quote unquote business as much as you think it is. Like you have to have something professional that a bank could even look at and say, okay, there's a real viable business here that made, even if it was 20, 30 grand profit on books, like that's a starting point. So make sure you guys are as organized as possible and have a broad and generic name as possible so you can quote unquote sell it to the next guy, right? Like you bought Faith Lawn Care. Nobody really cared who the owner was, quote unquote. And I would imagine, and you can weigh in and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine 80% of the customers didn't even know the last guy moved on.
So on most of the time when we do the acquisitions, we actually send a letter out that says that, we're buying, we're taking over.
Oh, okay.
So I actually haven't done an acquisition where I haven't yet.
Okay.
But no, we normally we'll have the seller will send a letter, and then I'll send a letter. And we've had good luck with that. I believe in having good transparency.
Yep. Good communication. There you go.
The 2 routes we took over this year, the one went super, super smooth, and the other one we've had a couple. It's actually the first time I've had any hiccups. Really, all my acquisitions have gone really smooth. But we had one this year that probably paid too much for. It was a buddy getting out of the business, and I kind of wanted to help him out. He had a number, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, dude, like that's fine. As long as everybody transfers over, that's fine." And same thing, seller finance, chunk up front, and we've had probably 25% of his business drop.
Oh no!
So yeah. I was kind of like, dude, like you said you were going to help. And
do you have a clause or anything in there that like you get the retro or anything?
We will now.
Yeah. Right.
But so like that was the first one I did this year, and then the second one I did this year, I said, okay, we're going to do how we kind of changed it up a little bit. It's like, hey, we're going to buy your business for X, and we'll give you, this now, but we'll relook at the end of the season. If anybody drops, we're going to adjust the second half that's owed to you.
Sure.
So that's how we're going to do it going forward. But
that's
the first
cool.
one we did this year, I was still kind of doing it the way I've been doing it. And I didn't get burned bad, but it wasn't what it was on paper.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. Well, okay. So really quickly, I just saw an Instagram post or Facebook post literally last night. Troy Clogg acquired some tree guy. I don't know who he is.
I saw that.
Yeah, which is awesome. And I have no idea who the guy is. I'm sure he's some OG that's been around for 40 years. He looks like another white-haired old guy that probably knows so much about the industry and the trade and the business. I think he's still working in the company with Troy's team, so he's going to come on board. He sold off his business, I would imagine, got a bag, I would imagine, and now he's going to get a 50, 80, 100 grand a year salary, I would imagine, to quote-unquote still like rerun the business. But the guy doesn't have to worry about accounts receivable, employees, scheduling, really any of that mess, right? He's more of like a strategic partner. Like, and I'm just telling you guys, like, if you're buying or selling businesses, this is really, really cool conversation, because if you don't always have to just pass out postcards and flyers and marketing, like you can just keep absorbing $1 million businesses if you really want to grow fast. I had Sam Rinkin on from Etch Outdoor from Des Moines, Iowa. He's going to be on the podcast here in a couple of weeks, part of the Shop Tour series. And they just acquired another business for like, it was like a $1.4 million revenue business. Obviously, they grew like $1.5 million, $2 million last year. They're going to do like $3.5 million or something this year. He's like 25 years old, dude. It's awesome. Yep. Kid's just crushing it. Great team, young crew, all 30, 40 of those guys. But again, like you can acquire these companies. I remember talking to Corey. He's like, yeah, we just acquired two new companies to grow the Perfect Cut line. So if you guys haven't noticed, there's a consolidation out there in the marketplace of people buying not only lawn and landscaping businesses, but turnkey manufacturing companies that have 80 employees and they're trying to sell it for $30 million. Like, you don't always have to buy all this or build all this stuff. You can always look at that as, like you said, Alex, you're listening to a bunch of investing podcasts, and that is one of the biggest market opportunities is buying these turnkey $2, $5, $10 million machine shop manufacturing businesses. A lot of these people are 60, 70, they're done. Their kids don't want to probably take over the business, and you could potentially acquire it for a pretty good price. And go ahead.
What we learned too is just like, a lot of people just want to see their baby taken care of. They've been doing this for such a long time.
Oh, yeah.
That they just want to see what they built be taken care of and their customers be treated well.
That makes sense. And
if you want to buy a business and you want to, buy a route, there are so many ways to be creative. I mean, you don't have to have a pile of cash necessarily to do it.
It helps, but you don't have to.
It helps, but you don't have to. I've learned there's just so many creative ways you can do it.
But there's a will, there's a way, right? One of those deals.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty neat.
Well, let's do this really quick. Give me the maybe the 2-minute rundown of the shop. What can people expect to see on the podcast? On the YouTube video later tonight? Because we'll probably button it up here in just a quick minute. I don't want to take your whole morning here. We're actually doing this on the weekend early, and I got to get a bunch of work done. You got to get a bunch of stuff done, and dude, 4 kids, like, God bless you, man. Like, I don't want to take it. I feel guilty taking any of your time. Like, send the invoice, but
I'm watching them all right now. They're all going down. We built a zip line for them last year.
Oh,
so they're all ripping down the zip line right now.
It's 7 a.m. They're running around. Holy crap,
dude! They were up before I was this morning.
Oh my God, dude! Yeah, when we were hanging out with the Almonds, we were co-rented a house with them and the Jennings, and their kids were up at like 6, 7 in the morning. I'm like, please, everybody, just go to sleep. Like, but ironically enough, I'm up at 5:36 anyway with Emmy, and man, like the golden days of like sleeping until like 7 or 8 seems like a luxury. You know what I'm saying? But
oh yeah,
what time? It like never happens again. You have to like literally physically leave. Caleb and Brady, they're like, man, we will go out west and then we sleep until 8 o'clock. We feel guilty, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, thankfully I wasn't sleeping much before because of all the YouTube stuff and burning the candle at both ends. But that's awesome.
But the shop, you're going to see a lot of dirty trucks. You're going to see some trailers. You're going to see some heavy equipment, some dump trucks, bucket trucks. Got some shiny new mowers in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just a typical landscape shop. Nothing too fancy.
What do you want people to see when they watch the shop tour? What do you want them to see? What do you want them to have the takeaway be?
That it's possible to do anything. I mean, it's your dream. You can do it. I mean, I never thought I would have a pushing $2 million a year landscape company. I always thought I was just going to be that $200,000-$400,000, owner operator with a couple of employees. But it's doable. I mean, the reason we kind of continued to grow past being just an owner operator was because, with the kids, God forbid something happens to me and I can't sit and ride on a lawnmower. I want to be able to still provide for my family.
Sure.
And that's kind of the reason we continued to grow. And, this last year for us was kind of the first year where I didn't have to be on the mower every day. I kind of got to sit back and just kind of run the office and help where needed. But I mean, I was able to focus on running the business, part of the business.
I love it, man.
And
I love it.
That's what you got to do if you want to grow. You got to get out of the field and work on the business.
Yep. Amen to that. Yeah. And we're right there behind it, man. It's, Liz and I have started having different ambitious conversations about where do we want to take the future of the company, and we'll see. There's not in the next 12 months. We got too many irons in the fire already. I'm intelligent enough to know my max, and what I believe is my max. But we can always dig deeper and do more. But dude, that is really, really inspiring, and I really encourage people to follow you. Facebook, Instagram, wherever they can find you, and check out that Christmas light video that we did here last fall, because that was a really fun. And so, you guys are doing 6 digits of Christmas lights, just a little tease if you guys want to check it out. Some 6-figure accounts, which is wild. Some of the biggest cities in Michigan that if I name drop, you would know them even if you don't live in the state. And those are some of his municipal contracts. And I'm like, holy cow. And not only that, not only that, we're doing a lot of commercial and HOA work lately. Like our business is shifting hardcore, and this last 2 or 3 years by design. And I told Alex, I'm like, can I upsell some of this stuff, and can I get a little cut? And you're like, dude, absolutely. And you don't always have to physically produce the work. You can just sell it. And I love selling work. And so any which way, like the sky's the limit, man. So I just want to say thanks again for coming back on. Congratulations on all the success, the growth. I know you haven't slept in a decade. And I know you guys are just like, I know you guys are talking about building a new dream home and all this stuff. And it'll come full circle before you know it, man. And Liz and I say this on every show, like we are your guys' biggest fans, all you guys listening in. We hope, I know I'm a butthead and a jerk on a lot of the shows. I'm like, get better, do better, be better. But like, this is what it all is. This is what it's all about. Like, I'm going to challenge you guys to not keep the status quo. I want you guys to grow. I want you guys to challenge me to grow. And when I got my friends like Alex Grugan growing and doing what he's doing, it inspires me. And you know what? Like you were talking to me in person off the record saying like, we're excited about building a dream home very, very, very soon, next couple years. And you were picking my brain about us going through the process. And I said, dude, when you guys are ready to cross that bridge, I will tell you everything I know, which is about not much. And, but I said, nonetheless, dude, like you're building the business first to support the house and the dream. And I said, like, that's the right way to do it. And so when you guys do get that dream home, it'll come full circle in, a 10, 12 year window. And you'll be like, man, I can't believe we sold the old home. And, 10 years later, we have this home. And like, it's just the Americana dream story, dude. Like, it's so beautiful to watch, man. And you guys are making it happen. So any final thoughts on all that? But if not, brother, we'll button it up.
No, I think that's about it.
Dude, that's awesome. All right. Where can people find you if they want to try to go down the rabbit hole a little bit about all things faith, lawn care, and landscape?
So the only one I'm really keeping up with right now is Facebook.
Okay, cool.
So there is an Instagram account out there, but it hasn't been updated in probably a year.
Well, there you go. We'll send you one of our podcasts to teach you about consistency on the Instagram. No, I'm just kidding, bro. But no, I really do encourage you guys. A lot of people actually did reach out to you, were saying after the Christmas night video on Facebook and Messenger, which is really cool.
They did.
Yeah, and if you guys got a question, look him up in South Lyon, Michigan. But give him some patience if you call or text him, he doesn't get right back to you. The guy's a little busy, so just a little bit. But hey, dude, again, congratulations on everything. I'm sure I'll see you on the highways and byways over the next couple of weeks as we're both out there in the field crushing it. But thanks again, man, and you have a beautiful rest of the morning and afternoon and weekend, all right?
Yeah, you too, Brian.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again to Alex Grugan for the podcast, and what a great story that was. Super appreciate him being transparent, candid, and just telling us his story, man. A lot of valuable lessons learned. Hey, I said at the top of the hour, at the top of the show, if you guys wanted to check out the full YouTube video and shop tour that we did with his facilities, and had a couple of his guys there, and all the crews were out. It was a really, really fun and encouraging YouTube video. I invite you guys to check that out tonight on the Brian's Lawn Maintenance YouTube channel at 3 p.m. Eastern. Come swing by, come check it out. I think you guys will really enjoy seeing the visual to the audio, if you will, for the story of them growing from something to 2.2 million, I think he said on the podcast, in just about 6 or 7 years. What an exciting ride that has been and is continuing to be. So any which way, that's what I got for you guys. I'm going to kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, to wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you guys here on the next episode.
You know the name Equipment Defender. Now experience the safety and security for your lawn care setup with Equipment Defender trailer racks. These lockable trailer racks are designed to keep your equipment organized and secure without breaking the bank. Upgrade your setup and protect your investment with trailer racks that fit any style of trailer, both utility or enclosed. These E-coated racks are built tough to withstand the elements, all while working hard to keep your equipment safe and secure. Put an end to unnecessary equipment damage and theft today by investing in quality trailer racks that you can rely on. Use the promo code BRIANS10 to save 10% on all orders today at equipmentdefender.com. And a link is provided in the show description. Equipment Defender. Hi, I'm Mr. Producer, and one more thing. If you're looking to stay up to date with the latest trends and insights in the world of lawn care, then you need our free email newsletter. It's delivered 3 times a week and includes a Monday motivational to kick off your week, a Wednesday what's new to keep you informed, and a Friday weekly recap of all the content we put out. Join our mailing list to stay connected to the world of lawn care and get exclusive access to the latest and greatest from Fullerton Unfiltered and Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Don't miss out on this opportunity to stay ahead of the curve and elevate your lawn care game. Sign up now with the link we've provided in the show description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.